Hi everybody, it's Lo from Framed in Green, and today I thought it would be fun to share with you my process for my thrift store makeover challenge. If you're unsure of what I'm talking about, on my Instagram I post 2 items that I found at the thrift store and let you vote for which one you would rather see get a makeover. Last week the 2 items that I posted were this pair of frames with a floral design inside, and this globe. The globe won the popular vote, so today in this video, I will be giving a makeover to this globe. Before I get started on that though, I want to let you know that if you would like to get in on the voting, you can go to my Instagram at Framed in Green. In 2 weeks, I will have 2 new items from the thrift store, and you can decide which one you would rather see get a makeover. For now, let's get started on the globe though.
Okay, so here is the globe. When I picked it up at the thrift store, it was already painted black and had this silver outline around the continents. The first step is taking the stand off of the globe. This is actually really easy to do. You just have to kind of pull the top and bottom of the stand out of the 2 holes on the globe. The top portion was giving me a little bit of a hard time, but I just kind of wiggled it and maneuvered it until it finally popped out at the top. Okay, so here is the globe portion. This is ready to be primed outside, and here is the stand. I did notice that the bottom of the stand had some denting in it, and so I decided to try to buff that out with my hammer. The globe doesn't spin very well on its own, and for some reason I thought this would help to combat that. And here it is, all done. Just kidding. This is actually a different globe that I had on hand. I decided to use this globe to trace the continent shapes on transfer paper. The reason I decided to do it this way is because this globe is about the same size as the thrift store globe. So I figured it would be easier tracing the continents from this globe so they would be the right proportion for the globe that I'm giving the makeover to. If you do not have another globe on hand, not to worry. You can just as easily find images of continents on your computer and print them out for the next step. Just be sure that you resize any images that you're using from the computer to make sure that they are proportionate with the globe that you are working on. That, I feel like, is a very important thing to keep in mind if you are doing a similar project like this one. Now that all of the continents were traced on the tracing paper, it was time to move on to painting the globe. Initially, I was using this Waverly chalk paint in the color Crystal to paint the globe. As you can see though, when I started applying this color, I don't know if I just got a bad batch or something, but it was not looking like the lightish grayish blue that was advertised on the bottle. And I'd like to say I didn't waste my time painting the entire globe this color, but I did. So I grabbed a Waverly chalk paint in the color Lagoon and started dry brushing that on the globe. I was liking the way that this color looked a lot better, so I just ended up mixing the Waverly chalk paint in the color Lagoon with Waverly chalk paint in the color White. This color was a lot more to my liking. It was still a little bit light, and I did end up adding a little bit more of the Lagoon color later on, but overall I was happy with how this was looking. I'd also just like to note that the reason that I am using chalk paint is because I feel like it covers a lot better than just normal acrylic paint. For me, it only took 2 coats on this globe, and you can see that it had a lot of imperfections on it. There's some gapping going on around the middle of it. There were portions that had chunks missing. On one spot, someone had used some clear tape on the globe, and when I lifted it, it lifted the paint up so that you could see the original globe color underneath, and that left kind of a large indentation, and using the chalk paint just kind of fills in all of those spaces. And so for me, using chalk paint just made more sense, but you can use acrylic paint. Just expect that you might have to do a few more coats. I only ended up needing to do 2 on this globe, but if you use acrylic, you might have to do a few more. Once the globe was completely painted, it was time to move on to cutting the continents out of the preserved moss that I had. So here I am laying my transfer paper onto the preserved moss, and I'm cutting out South America. So I just wanted to see what it looked like on the globe, and I quickly realized that I had accidentally cut out the continent backwards. So once I realized that I needed to actually flip my transfer paper over and go over the original outline in permanent marker on the back side so that I would have a reverse image of each continent, this got easier. I mean, it was still tedious work. I had to sit and cut out all of these intricate details, but it really did help having the image reversed because there's backing on this. All right, I got all the continents cut out, and now we're moving on to gluing them to the globe. So to glue the moss to the globe, I am just using my hot glue gun that I picked up at Walmart, and it was about $3. And this worked just fine to attach the moss to the globe. The way that I am making sure that I'm putting the continents on where they're supposed to be is by referencing that other globe that I had towards the beginning of the video. And I don't know if you notice, it's kind of hard to see on the video, but after I had repainted the globe, I could actually see some of the markings where the continents were originally on the globe. So I'm just using that as a reference. And I know it's not totally accurate and 100% proportionate, but I felt pretty good. I thought it was looking really neat, so I just kept going for it. Okay, but here's where things get a little crazy, because after I had gotten the big pieces of the land on the globe, something possessed me to start adding all the little islands. So as you can see here, I'm just kind of dotting the hot glue onto the globe, and then those little pieces of moss on the table, I'm just gently sticking them on the glue dots to make it look like little islands. And I kind of went a little crazy with this, but I ended up loving the way that it looked because it just gave it that much more detail and accuracy. So I guess hashtag worth it. Alright, and here it is all finished with the moss and the little islands all in their place. And I think it looks pretty good. I am happy with the way it turned out. I had a backup plan for this, but I love it. I reattached the stand, and once I did feel like it needed a little something more. So I decided to add some floral. This was already hard to turn on the stand before I added the moss for the makeover, and after the moss was attached and the globe was a little bit thicker since the moss is raised a little bit, you could barely even turn this globe anyways. So for me, I didn't feel like it was that big of a problem to be adding floral, and I just thought the floral kind of jazzed it up a little bit more, gave it a little bit more character, and I liked the way that it was looking. I kept it in a pretty neutral color palette so it kind of blended in with the mossy continents, and I just used white because, you know, white goes with everything. And then I did add some little sprigs of gold to tie in with the gold stand that I had done, and I was loving the way that this was looking. Here she is, mostly finished. I did add a few more flowers later on, but overall, I love the way that this globe turned out. I think this was a great makeover. Let me know what you think below, and thank you for watching this Framed in Green Thrift Store Makeover Challenge.